All right, guys, welcome to the MMA Fight Game podcast. You might recognize these two good-looking lads here. They are coming off massive dubs at the awesome powerslap 5 event that happened just recently. I asked these gentlemen to come on. They're going to talk about their experience at powerslap 5, as well as they're going to be reviewing and breaking down UFC 295 because they are also major mixed martial arts fan, and it's probably UFC 295 is probably the biggest UFC event of the year. We're here with the middleweight champion John the Machine Davis, as well as Ryan the King of King Phillips. They are two-fourths of the Barefisted podcast. If you haven't checked out the Barefisted podcast, check it out. It's a bunch of dudes having a good time, talking mad shit, and just having a ball. Boys, thanks for joining me. How are you?
I'll let Mellow Yellow tell you first.
I'm doing great. It's always a pleasure. Appreciate you inviting us on. You know, I'm out here living the dream, baby. How about you, Ryan?
I'm doing great, bro. Doing great. Dan, how you doing, brother? You enjoyed the event?
I did enjoy the event. Obviously, there's a little bit more anxiety when you're vested in certain athletes that are competed. You have more feelings, involved. Obviously, you, John, Robert, Cole, even Dwayne. When you guys are competing, it's a little different. Just not even as a fan. It's like you want to see the guys that take care of you, talk to you, do well. So that's what it is. And I know, John, before you got on, I know John just got done being Dad of the Year honors, bottle feeding and changing some poopy diapers for the missus to keep a happy wife. So I know he's all good to come in and talk to the guys tonight, right, Johnny?
Oh, you know it. A few swipes with a wet wipe and an empty bottle. I'm good to go.
Awesome. So I want to break down powerslap 5. Kind of talk to me. When you're leaving your home airport and you get into Vegas, what's that like? What's going on?
Well, I guess I'll go first. I was looking forward to seeing John, but John went a day earlier than me. Usually we ride out there together, but for me, I wake up about hour and a half before my flight. Well, not an hour and a half before my flight, but before I leave for my flight. Usually I leave about an hour and a half to 2 hours for my flight. But I wake up about hour and a half. I actually pack all my stuff. I don't pack it the night before, dude. I just wake up before and get it all done then. Roll out. Get prepared to probably sit in the middle between two people because they always give us like the worst seats for the flight. So that's a true fact. This time I went, I had to sit by the bathrooms and all the way in the back. So I had a great flight, let me tell you. But got there, you got to look for the guy with your name on it that says UFC, look for the guy, the chauffeur, roll out, and it's immediately get to work, man. It's right to the Apex Center, pictures, sign posters, do PR, do promotional work, and probably more or less more for John, but yeah, it's just it's breakneck, man. You get there, it's 100 miles per hour. You're in Vegas, never sleeps. You're going, you're trying to see all the guys that you haven't seen in months and just chilling out, checking in too. Sometimes checking in can be horrible. You got a 3-hour wait one day, or you got 10-minute wait, so you never know what you're gonna get there. But I'll pass it over to Johnny boy. How was your time, buddy?
I got lucky enough to not be next to the bathroom like yourself, but like you said, I had to head out a day early because I had an appointment on Monday that I actually had to go to. That was a final checkup for me to actually be able to compete. So the doctor from the stem cell place, I had to go get. I mean, just pretty much them poke my arm, make sure that I was all right, and I had no issue for them to sign the paper and have me cleared on their end, because I had to be cleared in a multitude of ways, because like Ryan, we were both coming back from injuries and had to have clearances in a couple of different spots. But that was why I had to head out a day early. And like he says, when you get down there, even if it's not, power slap obligations, I'm still trying to find a podcast, find people to network with, find, do even I walked around for like 30 minutes the one night with the belt down in Circa just to help kind of try and promote and do my part to help push us and get everybody that was in Vegas, get them betting on it if they weren't already, explain to people what was going on, who, if something shiny catches their eye, which is the belt, and then it's easy to strike up a conversation. You ever seen one of these before? But like he said, you get down there and I mean, you could like no one sleeps. There's always something going on. So, and of course we're dealing with a 3-hour time change.
Mhm.
And I'm anxious as hell once I leave the house. So that's the whole trip while I'm gone, just nonstop anxiety and having to battle that before I even get to the actual fight. But it's still a good time, and as much work as it may be, there's still some fun to be had.
Yeah, we also, like, for me and John too, we also have people that are actually actively searching us out to do like internet skits or get our haircuts done by like famous barbers with like McLarens and Corvettes and stuff like that. So we're living the all-star lifestyle when we get down there. It's pretty fast,
Yeah. Are you guys seeing now as power slaps growing that you guys are getting more and more recognized out like on Fremont Street in Circa, or, like I know Ryan, you go over to Cosmo a lot. Do you get recognized a little bit more?
Not so much. I guess for me it's different because I haven't really fought because of my injury. So me being out there and being recognized, not so much. And I look different in person than I do on TV too, which is kind of odd. But if you're walking around with the crazy Hawaiian, however, you're getting noticed on every corner. There's people running up to you, and that's the guy I was hanging out with the most. So yeah, I was getting approached too, but I was walking with the bell, who had the belt just like John, had the bell around his waist and walking around celebrating. So yeah, you get recognized when you're with the guys for me, but I don't get recognized unless it's a not a rare occasion, but it happens sparingly.
Yeah. What about you, John?
I definitely will say before, not as much. This time more so. I'd say at least a dozen scenarios where I was talking to someone in general about it, and just because I had a power slap shirt on, or like I said, when I was carrying the belt around, that one was a little more of a dead giveaway. But there was a few times where I had, I didn't expect it, and some random folks are like, "Hey, man, you're that guy," and I'm going, "I maybe who do you think I am?" I don't want to be some random mistake that you'd think you got to fight someone down in Vegas. But it was a few more scenarios now than compared to before, where people were recognizing, they were, "Oh man, yeah, I know who you are. You're, yada yada, your name, da da da. You're the champ. It's good to meet you. I've been watching," and you're like, "Oh shit!" So it was definitely it was reassuring to finally get some of that, and really try and connect with the people down there that are, they're the ones watching. They're the ones helping us push and get ourselves out there and make power slap even bigger than it already is.
Yeah, that's great. I did see you on influencers. I think it was shared. You were kind of standing in the background, and influencer was kind of plugging. Were you purposely there in that spot, or was that just the right time, right place? And did you get any benefit from that?
There was a handful of influencers in there that we were supposed to go do stuff with, as much as they wanted to is what I was able to do. So, but that particular one, I literally just so happened to be standing there, and I was just kind of hanging out, and I was like, I wasn't trying to be in the video, but he kept moving around, and of course I can't not pay attention to what's going on around me. So I'm just kind of deedle doddling in the background, but he was calling somebody out because he was, entertaining the idea to come into power slap, which, I mean, if that's the case, great. Maybe you'll be in my weight class and I can catch a fat bag beating up an influencer. That would be cool too.
Yeah, I love it. Now, Ryan, you had mentioned the flights. Have you guys communicated with the UFC or Endeavor or Erica or Frank about your flight situation? I mean, because you guys are athletes, and I mean that's a pretty uncomfortable. And Ryan, you're not no small dude. You're you're
No.
you're you're a heavyweight, and being in a middle seat is a little awkward. Have you talked to them about better travel arrangements for you guys? I mean, obviously you're not going to sit business class or first class. I get that, not yet at least. But have you had communication with them about that?
So I mean, I really said at home that I needed like an aisle seat when I had my arm when my arm was in the cast, and
Mm-hmm.
I had to go out for a TV show that time for the after show of Power Slap, and I made they made conservations for me, and it worked out. But I don't want to argue, man. Like I said, there's a they're really on a very different type of mentality ever since Power Slap, I'd say two.
Mm-hmm.
Things have changed, and I believe, not to sound doom and gloom, but I feel like we're expendable in some cases. So I try not to ruffle the bush too much, and I just keep quiet. It is uncomfortable, but more or less I try to find the seats, because when you get Southwest, you can seat yourself. So I try to find the two old ladies that are sitting far apart from each other, and they're like 90 pounds, so it works out.
Yeah. And then let's get into the event. Obviously, I'm going to start with Ryan first because Ryan performed first. He competed first. Let's talk about that event. And then, you posted on Instagram a few days later. I want to talk about that alleged injury as well. Talk to me about, getting to the arena and then starting to walk on the stage. Like, what's that whole thing like for both of you guys?
Well, for me, this time it was very strange. It didn't feel. Usually, I feel hyper or buzzed up, like I'm excited. For this one, I was kind of mellow. I was just hanging out. I was around the guys. I was trying to psych myself out, but I really couldn't get there for some reason. So I just went with the flow, and when you get off the bus and you walk in, basically you're walking into the UFC Apex. It's a big time. I'm just thinking, I'm running the match through my head. I'm always going 3 rounds, never going one. You never know if if you can't knock the guy out. Obviously, you're gonna have to go all 3 rounds. So why not train for all 3 rounds? So in my head, I'm always visualizing all 3 rounds, what I'm gonna do, how I'm gonna perform. Just trying to run through that in my head over and over and over and over and over again. And you just start hanging out with your teams because we're split up in two teams. And me and John, thankfully, we're on the same team this time. Usually, I'm coaching against him, which is terrible, or he's coaching against me in some aspects. But we had a good. Actually, I just talked about this with someone. We actually had a really good locker room because we were all trying to help each other out. We were holding the pad. No one was having problems, and we're all psyching each other up, having a good time. And I think that showed because we all won. That whole team wiped out the other team. We had no losses on our side. So it was a great dynamic. I had a great time. It was fun all the way up until walking out to meet Darius. That's when I woke up. When I get on the stage and I do my warrior cry, I start seeing spots. And then it's just it's just go time, and a different animal comes out. I call it the demon. I'm just the king. I'm the king on the stage. So I just wanted to make a buzz. I wanted to get people to remember the match. I always go for memory. I want people to talk about it. And so we had a good rodeo, me and Darius. It was I hope everyone saw it.
Yeah, I mean, it was definitely, an awesome bout for you. And then Johnny, talking to you, you're going into a title fight. What's that like?
It's like Ryan said, instead of being prepared to go all 3 rounds, I have to be prepared to go 5. Luckily in this one, I had the experience of going 5 rounds before and really having to battle through a heck of a fight once before. So mentally, like, I have to be prepared before I even get on the plane for that, and that's part of where the angst lies for me, because I'm ready to go once I leave my house. Like, once I step out of my garage, man, it's go time. I'm tired of waiting. I want to compete. I want to get this over with. I want to do the damn thing. But like Ryan said, I get on the bus to pull up to the Apex. You're having those thoughts of like, I can't believe I'm doing this, not because of what I'm doing, but because you're pulling up to the UFC Apex, which is one of the, I'd say greatest places in America to just get to leisurely stroll into, that feels like a second home. We've spent so much time there already, and we lived there for the most part, other than the house when we did the TV show. So
we don't have security badges anymore.
Yeah, right. They were like, they know who you are. And I was like, well, I hope so. Our faces are kind of everywhere for the most part. They're like, you'll be all right without your security badge. But like Ryan said, our locker room everyone was ready in their own way, because everybody gets ready, a little bit different. But if you needed to warm up and someone needed a hand, we're there to help each other. If you need help stretching, you need to just get something off your chest real quick, so that way you can spit it out and get it out of your mind. That's also there too, because it's the mental aspect of this game that I think people may forget about a lot, that we as the competitors know about and have to focus on, other than, obviously the physical part.
Yeah, and going back to what Ryan had said, he said that, your locker room was you guys didn't strike first, did you?
No, neither of us did. Nope.
Was your locker room the ones who didn't strike? Is that how they separated, or no?
No, it's a randomized coin flip.
Yeah, and I know we got into it about the coin flip. Were you guys, and I don't know how much you can say, because I know there's some betting things. Were you guys underdogs in your bouts because you guys didn't slap first, or no?
John, were you? I don't know. I don't remember.
No, I was the favorite this time, and probably this is the first time I've been such a higher favorite, because all the ones in the past were pretty much pick'ems.
Yeah.
This is the first time I was a legit favorite at the beginning, and even with losing the coin toss. So that was, not that it actually matters, because it's not, those numbers aren't going to mean anything once we get up there. But it was nice to actually have that for once, because it was minus one thing against me compared to having everything against me the entire time.
Yeah, I was the underdog. I was 2-1 underdog.
Wow, and you got the big dub. So let's talk about, you posted, I obviously follow you guys on Instagram, John the Machine Davis, and what is it, _King Ryan Phillips for you, right?
Yeah, _King Ryan Phillips.
There you go, on Instagram. And you posted a picture of a bruised pectoral region. Are you injured?
So no, I'm actually fine. Originally I thought it was from Darius, because Darius's strikes were low and kind of hitting my shoulder and then moving up. But later, probably a couple days after the match, I was talking to a friend of mine, and he got me excited, and I went, yeah, and I was like, oh yeah, because bits of the match, and John can attest to this, bits of the match you actually don't remember. It's like just an adrenaline dump, and there's just things that just slip your mind. And that I remember now, after doing that, I remembered it triggered in my head that I was on stage just pounding my chest, just letting the demon out, man, unleashing the beast to the crowd. And yeah, I got a big ass bruise from it. I was hitting myself pretty hard.
And then when you guys are getting ready for your bouts, like before like a couple days prior, are you guys over at the UFC PI? And if so, how great of a facility is that?
John?
I wasn't this time. I have gone over there in the past, but I mean, it's a great facility. Just the sauna and the cold plunge that they have in there is so high tech. The whole facility is high tech, because we've got to use it a few times between the show, and like I said, I got to go in there once or twice in my previous bouts. I didn't this time, only because I just kind of kept to myself. I was already on weight before I even left. again, more so, I just had to keep the angst out of my head. So I had the circuit gym, which was good enough for me to hit the treadmill and, do a little stretching here and there and some light work, because my biggest thing is I have to hold back. I get into a facility like that where you have so much stuff that I can do. I can get, I could get lost for 12 hours of working out. And then by the time I get to the fight, I've completely spent everything that I needed. But it is a great facility, and we are able to go over there pretty much whenever we need to when we're down there. I think you just kind of have to let them know when you would like to go and get the ride situation figured out, and the time, because obviously sometimes they kind of have to keep some people apart, or they don't want too many people in there at once, or whatever the situation may be. But it's no different than getting anything else scheduled and taken care of down there. But it is definitely the place to be if you're able to get in there.
Yeah, so obviously, keeping people apart, Ryan likes talking. He even talked shit to me when we first met online, and they're probably keeping people apart, specifically like Ryan Phillips, right?
I mean, I went to the Performance Institute the day of the fight, and we actually, me and the Recognized guys filmed a whole segment, me working out and taking interviews in an octagon with Sean Strickland and Cody Garbrandt training in the cage next to us. So it was cool, and yeah, it's definitely, like John said, the best place to be if you're into combat sports, for sure.
Yeah, are you guys able to work with like the recovery staff, like the director Heather Linden and all those guys? Do you guys have access to that stuff?
So we actually worked with Heather on the show. We went through a combine, and we did like testing. They actually ranked us in certain aspects. It's actually a big part of the show. I think it was episode 2, if I'm not mistaken. But we did work with her. Do we have access to her and those types of benefits? Now, that's a good question. We can ask for it, I believe, if we request it or we do need it as far as prevention is concerned. I believe they will grant it to us, yes.
Oh, that's really awesome.
But I'm not saying that for everyone, because, then again, me and John are different. We've been here since the beginning. We have tenure, and not only that, but John is arguably the greatest welterweight, right? Welterweight of all time? Middleweight, sorry. Middleweight of all time. Sorry. Yeah, middleweight of all time, and they take care of him, and they've taken care of me ever since. So not everyone gets that kind of treatment, we must say. So
yeah, and talking I think in a couple interviews Dana White had some good things to say about you, Ryan. John, I wasn't sure if he said anything. Did you guys have any conversations with the boss man?
John, have you?
Over Instagram Messenger for the most part. I didn't really get a chance to see him when I was down there, but anytime I talk to him, at least through Messenger, I know he's very busy, so I don't expect some sort of extravagant, response from him. But at least the last thing that I sent him, he said he was happy for me and my family on the win and congratulated me. Obviously, in the heat of the moment after I had won again and he gave me the belt, I was like, hey, I wasn't trying to give you the cold shoulder when you came up there, but I was just freaking out in the moment. I was happy that I won. And he was like, hey, it's not about anything other than what's going on up there for you guys at the point. Don't worry about that. But like Ryan said, you get up there, there's little parts of the fight, not because it's a combat and you're getting hit. There's little parts that you just forget because you're freaking out. Your adrenaline's pumping. You're trying to scream at the crowd to get them, up and moving if they're not. And you just kind of get lost in the moment. And that was one of those things where that definitely happened throughout that entire match. I was able to, at least keep track of what I needed to, and then get to the end and again be amped up. But, as for any mention or anything like that, I'm not too worried about it. He knows that I'm there. He knows that what I'm there for. He knows he can rely on me. Again, we've talked about that over Messenger a few times, and it's not like I get ignored or anything like that.
Yeah, you guys both, obviously Ryan and I had some beef in the beginning, but you guys are both two dudes that people should want to see win and do well. Obviously, John, you're former U.S. military. You're a family man with a couple kids. Ryan, you're just a straight up good dude, hardworking dude. I heard the Barefisted podcast being blasted. I know Charlie Arnott, if I pronounce her name right, she plugs you guys a lot, which is great. You want to get into that stuff. So that was good. And then just touching base, Ryan, how much of a maniac is Sean Strickland? Who, by the way, is fighting 3 hours away from me, probably 4 or 5 hours away from you, boys. So you want to make a jaunt, UFC 297, Toronto, Ontario, Canada, January 20th. Let's roll, boys.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, special shout out to Charlie, because that was awesome for her to do that for us. But you said wait, what was the question again? I forgot.
How much of a maniac is Sean Strickland?
So here's the thing. When I was at the PI and he was there too, obviously I think he was in combat mode, so I didn't really talk to him. I really didn't see him, but not much of a maniac when I saw him there. When I'm up on the stage, unfortunately, I am completely fucking blind, bro. I have no glasses, no contacts. I can't see shit. So when I was walking around screaming at everyone, I was screaming in the face of Deontay Wilder. I was screaming in the face of Sean Strickland. So obviously Sean Strickland wasn't that much of a maniac, because I was screaming directly in his face saying, I'm the one, I'm the king, and I'm the man.
Yeah. So if you can't see, how do you see your shots? Or are you like Farsight where you can't see things far away? Is that how that works? Or how do you see your target?
I don't know. I'm a weirdo, man. Like, I can see in the dark. Like, if I close my eyes, I can walk around my house. Like, I kind of like have a weird, I wouldn't say photographic memory, but it probably is close to that, where I can, like, I don't know, I can just, like, I can kind of see and, like, kind of figure it out. I don't know what it is, but yeah, I'm nearsighted, right? So I can't see far. So but I can only see like right from here to the screen, so it's still super blurry, but it's all about the lineup. When you put your hand on the person's face and you have your arm extended in a certain way, you just, it's like golf. You know how you golf and you keep that one arm stiff and you go for it? That's exactly how I feel with power slap. Like, you keep your arm stiff, you wind it up, and then bang, right on target.
Yeah. And just a couple more power slap questions. What was it like having the ladies there? Obviously Sheena had a massive viral knockout that, had so many views. It was unbelievable. I think she finished her in was it the second or the third round?
Second round.
Second round. What was that like having the women there?
Well, it stung for me because they kicked me out of the main feature of the prelims, so I'm kind of salty about that. But maybe John has a better take than I do.
It was nice for her to be back, especially, and her to finally get a match, because she was one of the ones, like Ryan and myself, that was there at the very beginning. She coached through the TV show, so they obviously wanted her to be a big part of this. And I know, at least from my understanding, they were having trouble finding her a new opponent for any of the events. So for her to finally get an opponent who, was a heck of an opponent, because she ate the first one. She has experience in the slap game and was willing to, fly from, where was she from? South Africa, if I'm not mistaken.
Correct. Yep.
Okay, so to come from South Africa all the way up to Vegas to compete against her, to again get a chance to be on the biggest stage in the world, and also, open up the female division finally in a live event. I was excited for both of them to be able to come up there and put on a show. Excited for Power Slap to finally get Sheena a fight to come out there, because I can only imagine, not for myself, not being part of some of the events because there was nothing you could do about that, is really a pain in the neck. And I'm sure she had to wait 5 events to finally get another match after the qualifier. So it was probably reassuring for them, and, on both sides, from Power Slap to Sheena herself. But it was good to finally have them out there, because people have been asking, because of the viral clips of her in the past, when are the women going to be here? When are they going to be on? So it was finally, come to fruition for everyone to get the chance to A, compete, and B, put on one hell of a show.
Yeah, I kind of asked the question when I was talking to the guy sitting below us. When are they bringing the women? And he had a shit-eating grin, which was dead nuts, gave it away when the ladies were coming. Does that match with Sheena set up a match with Josette Cotton?
I'm not sure because Josette has yet to compete, so we haven't even seen anything from her as far as slap fighting is concerned. Kimberly Thompson's still an option. I do remember that there was other girls that were recruited. Because when Erica had her Instagram, you can go underneath her who's following her, and you can see everyone who's about to be recruited. It was a dead giveaway. So there are ladies that are coming down the pipeline here. I don't know what's next for Sheena because there's really no one. I mean, they had to pull someone from South Africa, but then again, that girl did have a lot of experience. I mean, she knocked out a guy. So she was definitely a perfect choice for Sheena. But I mean, hey, she's our women's champion right now. She's like the Robert Trujillo, he doesn't have a belt, but he's the champion.
And speaking of Robert Trujillo, he's actually stepping foot. I think it's December 10th. He's got his next MMA bout. We'll definitely be talking to him. That might be something for the Barefisted podcast to do, as well, because Robert, like his name says, he's the real deal. And I knew of his name before powerslap, which definitely says something. And going on to the last thing. So is powerslap 6 going to be during Super Bowl weekend? And are both you boys going to be on it?
John, you can talk.
It's supposed to be, I believe, February 9th, because I heard them in the interview afterwards.
Yep.
As for who's on it, I have no clue yet. I can't speak for Ryan, but I know I haven't got any sort of indication for myself yet, so I can't put anything out there saying yes or no at this point. Would we like to? I mean, of course, we want to compete. We want to go out there and put on the show, do the damn thing. I would love to defend my belt yet again, but that's really up to the brass, and whenever they make that decision, we'll find out.
So you guys haven't gotten any contracts, either one of you, for that February 9th show?
Well, I got a contract for a 2-versus-1 handicap match with Megan Fox and Margot Robbie in a slap ass battle. We'll see who's got the firmer cheeks. But yeah, I can't speak for John on that one, but I'm ready to go.
Yeah, the funny thing is my buddy runs a limo service in Vegas, and when it was some music show, and Megan Fox was with Machine Gun Kelly in the pink limo, so he drove them around.
No,
so they're always in Vegas.
I'm the real king of Cleveland. MGK, go sit down, brother.
And that weekend, if you guys both get on that card, obviously there's probably going to be a UFC. There's going to be a UFC fight night, and then the Super Bowl is going to be out there. Which you guys are from Ohio, and the Browns aren't looking too bad.
Yeah, I mean, if that happens, then that's going to be a whole different story. I know. Me and John are probably going to be running around town. Is that right?
I'm a Bengals fan, so I could only hope that they make it back to the Super Bowl. But I guess that will depend on how the rest of this season goes, because the beginning didn't start off too hot for my team. But oh well.
Well, Joe Burrow was hurt, and he just kicked my team's ass on Sunday Night Football, the Buffalo Bills. So
yes,
you got thanks, buddy. But so switching gears, obviously this weekend is a massive pay-per-view event in the UFC. UFC 295 is taking place at the Mecca at Madison Square Garden. Originally headlined by jonjones and Ohio boy Stipe Miocic, which unfortunately John was
chickened out
wrestling and tore his pec. Most likely John's going to be out until November of 2024, probably at Madison Square Garden, but they're saying that fight may never come to fruition. which is unfortunate. Have you guys heard anything about that?
Yeah, I heard John Jones was scared and chickened out. I know that's your boy, but I gotta say it.
That's all right.
It's bullshit, bro.
And what about you, Johnny? What do you think about it? You think Stipe's? They're gonna say they're saying on MMA Twitter and all that, they're saying that Stipe is gonna be too old and he's just gonna hang it up.
Yeah, I don't know. I understand. I know for a fact that they said they didn't want to offer him an interim title because that would be, I mean, disrespectful. The guy's a freaking legend in his own right. So, as for what's actually going to happen, man, I have no idea about any of that. So that's not really my place to say, but I really was hoping to watch that fight because it would have been absolutely legendary no matter the outcome for both of them to step into the octagon and compete. But if it happens, it happens. If not, there's nothing any of us can really do about it. It's the name of the fight game, man. Shit happens. People get hurt. Like Ryan said, people like to chicken out, even though I'm not the one saying that. That's him. But it's just an unfortunate situation that, as always, they have to come through and figure out what they're going to do next and who they're going to put on the card. And they were able to come through and give us a hell of a show yet again for the UFC.
Yeah, it's going to be still a massive card. Obviously on my social media, The Starched, I asked you guys to make some picks. I just want to kind of go through it. And if you guys have thoughts on the fights and things like that, let's chat about it. I'm going to start with the main event first, because obviously that's everybody knows. So I picked Alex Pereira. Johnny and Ryan, you both picked Yuri. I think personally, this fight is going to come down to the athlete who makes the first mistake is going to get clipped. Both guys have knockout power. I'm hearing a lot of Yuri by submission, but he trains with Alex trains with Glover. So it's kind of like who's going to make the first mistake is going to go to sleep. I think the fight's going to definitely end. It's going to end via KO. Just who it is who makes the mistake. What are your guys' thoughts?
Go ahead, Ryan.
I think it's Jiri's game. Jiri's real technically sound. Not to say that Alex isn't, but I just like Jiri's headspace. Like, he's so focused and dialed in when he does something. He doesn't have all this other clutter and shit ruining his mind. When he gets in there, he's just laser focused, throwing strikes at you. I mean, his output is crazy. Alex Pereira is more laid back. He's kind of like the snake, he strikes when he sees an opening. I don't think Yuri's going to give him an opening because he's so technically sound and his stuff comes from weird angles and he's so dynamic with his striking and just so he's an enigma. The guy's an enigma to me. I mean, he's freaking awesome. He's one of my favorites at the moment. So I think it's just going to be a great fight. Who wins? The fans. The fans win this one. So, but yeah, I'm definitely rooting for Jiri just because I just like how mysterious he is.
Now let me piggyback off that. So Yuri took a lot of shots in the Glover Teixeira fight. If you saw that fight, does that concern you at all?
For me, I think Jiri had just an off night. I think, but you know what? He's coming off an injury too. But I came off an injury that everyone thought I wasn't coming back and then I wouldn't be back till 2024. So I can't even say that the injury may affect him because it didn't affect me at all. So, well, it did because my power's kind of fucked up, but I think he's ready to go more so than I am.
Yeah. All right. Do you think you're going to get your power back? Because piggybacking off that comment, do you think that power is going to come back over time, or is that potentially could be an issue down the road if you want?
No, I'll be 100% with you. I didn't train nearly as hard for this fight that I did for the Slap House. So it was actually my own doing that I didn't have my power back because I didn't really work at it. I still go to physical therapy 2 times a week, which isn't really gaining power. It's more for just focusing on range of motion and just preventative maintenance, like John Davis. John Davis's podcast.
Nice plug.
Yeah, check that out. But But I really, I actually worked on speed because I thought Darius was gonna roll, but surprisingly, Darius didn't roll. But you could see when I threw the fast shot, it rumbled his brain. His eyes were all looking weird and his lip looking soggy. It was so funny looking. But no, I'll get that power back for sure.
Yeah,
I'll
and
work on it.
then that's good to hear. So let's go on to the co-main event, which is for the interim heavyweight title between Sergey Pavlovich and Tom Aspinall. On this one, we all picked Tom Aspinall. Johnny, starting with you, why did you pick Tom?
Again, he's coming off of an injury, if I'm not mistaken, but also, because I know that'll change your mindset. It definitely will kind of drive you crazy because people will sleep on you and think that you're not capable or you're not able to do this, that, or the other anymore, which I highly doubt, especially for Aspinall's record and the performances that he's put on. He's a technician in a multitude of ways. He's still a younger guy. As a heavyweight, he moves very, very well. He moves almost like a light heavyweight, just for his abilities again to go in there and put on that show. I just have him, not that I don't think the Russian destroyer fella is not capable. I just think Aspinall was on such a good track beforehand that he's going to be able, have gone through his recovery and come back and hop right back on the track that he was on to, go for gold.
Yeah, and Ryan, what about you?
Yeah, I pretty much agree with everything John said. Tom Aspinall, he's a great athlete. He definitely comes out and surprises me. There was one time though I seen him get knocked loose because of a much stronger opponent. Forget who he faced on that one, but I'll get back to you. But Pavlovic, man, it's tough because he's such a destroyer. He just goes in there and it's like one round and you're out. So this was tough for me to pick. I don't know too much about Pavlovic other than that he just goes out and just demolishes people. But I've been a fan of Tom Aspinall, and I'd like to see the kid make it. I'd like to see him be a face.
Yeah, when we were at UFC 285 back in March, just walking down past New York, who's walking by me but Sergey Pavlovich? I have a picture with him, and I'll tell you what, he is massive. He is thick, and he is very, very, very strong. So
that's gonna be a problem. I think it's gonna be a big problem because Tom has had a problem with that in the past.
And the question with Tom is obviously Sergey was the backup for Jones and Miocic. So if one of those guys got injured, Sergey was gonna jump in as well. There, Tom got the call really late at night, and he took the fight. Didn't even worry about compensation, didn't worry about pay. But where I really think if Tom actually wins and makes our prediction come right, is he's gonna get him down to the ground and he's gonna submit him. I really think that the submission game would be you don't want to do that power game with Sergey Pavlovich. I don't think so. No. That would be my thing. And then obviously moving on, obviously we have Mackenzie Dern, who is back, got the right headspace, fighting Jessica Andrade, who is very much a fan favorite. However, I think Jessica is on the downside of her career. Going into this bout, I think Mackenzie is ready to go. She had a masterful performance against Angela Hill in her last bout. I just think that the fight's either going to go to decision or Mackenzie's going to use that slick jiu-jitsu game that she has and submits her. What are your guys' thoughts on that bout?
Go ahead, John.
Yeah, I definitely am leaning towards, I agree with you and her being in the right headspace, especially coming off of that good performance against Hill. But I think she's going to get a submission, whether it's in the first or the third round. You can time that whenever. She can push whenever she wants to. She'll find the opening wherever it lies. And I think that's probably at least what I'm betting on is her to win by sub in any round. In all reality, it just depends on, how things play out from, if they feel out through the first round or if they start going for it. And then, she works for a takedown because she's not trying to go to war, but even, you never know.
Yeah. And when Mackenzie took that loss against Jan at it was a UFC fight night that she headlined. I think she was having some personal issues, some family issues, that really caused her to, lose that bout. But it's being rumored that the girl that she lost to is going to be up next against Wei Li for the title. So we shall see what's going on with that. The next fight, obviously, a guy that John has interviewed on his podcast, Matt Frivola. Both John and I took Matt Frivola. Ryan, you took Saint Denis. You want to talk about why you took Saint Denis?
It's because John likes him so much. I just want to see him lose. I want to see Frivola lose.
But Frivola's been at powerslap, and and it seems like Frivola is a huge fan of powerslap. So
no, I'm just joking. Honestly, I saw Frivola. Honestly, I'm gonna be honest about Frivola and me. Okay.
All right.
I saw him get knocked out by Terrence McKinney like easy, dude, and ever since then, I just seen a glass jaw, and I think that he's not going to make it past the second round.
Okay. And Johnny, what about you?
I'm excited for this fight for a multitude of reasons, not just because I've met him and I've interviewed him and chatted with him a few times. They're both veterans from different countries. So I really like that aspect because they're going in there with a different kind of mentality that I think a lot of people are going to have. So, that's one country against another, both being in the military. They're both going to be dogs in the fight. I just know that Matt's always looking for the dog fight, and he's coming off of good performances no matter what Ryan has to say. But I really think, especially after talking to him and following his training camp and listening to, how hard he's been working and his mentality for this one, that he's going to prevail and come out on top.
Yeah. And, that interview with Matt you did is available on your YouTube channel on the preventative maintenance. I think it's number 3 or something along the lines of that number, but that's on there. I'll definitely link that up on my Instagram page, tag you guys in it. So, people can definitely take a look at that.
Yeah. Preventative maintenance, bitch.
And then I took Matt Frivola because I truly believe Matt Frivola is kind of like Charles Oliveira. I used to bet against Charles Oliveira, and Charles cost me. Now Matt, I'm rolling with Matt until Matt retires or loses. So I can't go against him. I mean, he's had 3 finishes in his last 3 fights at UFC 270, 281, and 288, all by brutal finishes in the first round. So I'm definitely rolling. This next fight is a very interesting fight. I heard some news today. So Pat Sabatini versus Diego Lopes. Obviously, John and Ryan, you took Diego Lopes, who's I know he's at the PI a lot. I took Pat Sabatini. Why did you guys choose Diego Lopes over Pat Sabatini?
Well, I think you chose Matt Frivola just to be on John's good side. So I don't know. Honestly, I just picked the favorite on this one. John, what about you?
I had watched his last fight, and that was more so the reason I leaned towards him. Again, some of these fights when I pick, I don't have too much of an inclination as to why I'm picking who, but I went with him, and I still think he's going to win, especially because I picked him.
Yeah, with Diego Lopes, he's obviously a fast rising contender. he took a fight on very short notice against a very dynamic, if I mispronounce, Evilov. He took him to the distance at Cejudo Sterling. And then his last fight, he armbar triangled Gavin Tucker. Pat Sabatini is a grappler, obviously a jiu-jitsu practitioner. His only fight loss in the UFC happened against Damon Jackson. I talked to somebody that was in the know with him and said that he said to me, there's no reason why he should have been in that fight. I didn't need to know personal reasons. Obviously, personal reasons, injury, mental, something like that. But he said that everything is right, and the odds makers can't believe the odds aren't higher for Sabatini, who's the favorite in that one. And then let's talk. Go ahead.
I said whoops.
Yeah, it's
looks like we made a bad pick.
You know what? It's a fist fight, just like in power slap with you guys. Somebody, you could have a great chin, and all of a sudden somebody just gets it just right, and then you guys are staring up at the stars. I mean,
not here, baby.
Can't see me. Let's talk about Tabitha Reese, who is dating Callum Walsh. Who Tabitha I've actually met over the summer. She's actually a very nice person.
Drop the zero, get with the king, Tabitha.
Right. Well, I think they call Callum Walsh King Callum Walsh, if I'm not mistaken. Actually.
Oh, it's the boxing kid. She's with that guy
fighting Thursday. Yeah, so
I punch harder. I can punch harder than that dude.
So obviously, Ryan and myself took Tabitha Reese, and then Johnny, you took Lupi Godinez, who I can't fault that pick, Johnny, because she had a masterful performance at UFC Noche. It was awesome. What was your reasonings behind taking Lupi over Tabitha?
That performance actually is why I was able to watch that one. And again, I feel like coming off of that win with that kind of performance, that's just, the whole thing was my reasoning behind that. I really enjoyed that fight, and I think she'll definitely be coming out there with that same mentality and that same push to be able to do it yet again.
Yeah. And Ryan, why did you take Tabitha over Lupi?
Well, because I'm not loopy like John, so I ain't taking no loopy. But no, Tabitha's like, I think 9-1. I think she only lost to like someone that was like super high level. So who did she not? It wasn't Meatball Molly, but it was wasn't it Manon Farad?
Manon Farad. She's probably going to be next title challenger.
Dude, she's a beast. So when I saw that and I saw the odds and she was an underdog, I was like, yeah, right. Like Tabitha Ricci's no joke. So I like seeing more of Tabitha Ricci. I'd love to see more of her around. So yeah, I'd like to see her win.
Yeah, going with I took Tabitha because obviously, like you said, she lost to a straight up killer in Manon Farad. Obviously, she fought at UFC 285 where she armbarred a very tough Jessica Penne, as well as then she beat a dog. I mean, her last opponent, Jillian Robertson. If you guys go back, Jillian Robertson is a straight up dog.
She beasted her too.
She did for a unanimous decision. And then I want to talk about the last one. You guys might not be too familiar with this one, but you guys took Costa, where I took Steve Carell looking dude, Steve Erceg. Why did you take Costa over Alessandro Costa over Steve Erceg? If you guys have a breakdown, if you guys just didn't look at the numbers, maybe looked at some past performances.
That one for me was just kind of a random pick in all reality. It wasn't anything that I had some insight on. I just kind of rolled the dice on that one and went with my pick.
That's fair enough. Generally, when I pick, and I don't have familiarity with these guys, I look at past performances, I look at opponents, I look at where they come from, I look for, where they come from a camp. Obviously, same thing with power step when you're making, picks and stuff like that. You look at what they're training, what they're doing, how they act, things like that. That's what I do. But obviously, Steve Erceg is very, very highly rated prospect coming from Australia. Casey O'Neill, who's a rising female prospect, is very high of him. He came on his first UFC fight. He came all the way from Australia, fought in Canada on 8 days' notice against the number 10 ranked guy in the world, and he spanked him. He went to decision, but the fight was amazing. And everybody after the fact did he go, is that the Steve Carell looking dude? So he's the first fight of the night at UFC 295. And it's going to be amazing. So, and
he looks like Mr. Gadget, actually.
I don't who's Mr. I don't know who Mr. Is Mr.
You
Gadget.
don't know?
No.
Yeah, the cartoon. The cartoon character. Woohoo, Mr. Gadget. Yeah.
They had a whole movie about it too.
Is it Inspector Gadget or is it called Mr. Gadget?
Oh, Inspector Gadget.
Dude, come on, man! You made me feel like I'm an idiot.
Damn.
Now.
my bad, bro.
Gadget. I'm like, what?
Mr. Gadget.
Isn't there a weird dude over in Europe that similar looking? What the heck's his name? I can't think of his name. Maybe somebody that's watching can kind of chime in. Mr. something, Mr. Peabody. I don't know, something. But then the remaining things of the fights, obviously, we all took Jamel Emmers. We took Joshua Van, Hu Kang. We all took Jared Gordon. Jared Gordon, obviously, as you guys know, he's a stud. His wife Christina Gambino is a very nice person. Fun fact is they're going to be on American Ninja Warrior together as a couple. I know they filmed that. Jared was on the short end of what many considered a win against Paddy Pimblett, where he lost. That went to a decision there.
We were there. Fun fact, me and John.
I think I saw those pictures. You guys had pictures down there. That was when you guys were filming the house. I was actually there too, but I had no idea what power slap or any of that stuff was. But you guys actually, I think I saw your pictures, Ryan, and you guys actually had like really good seats.
Oh yeah, we were right there on the path where they all walked out, and that was the first time power slap was introduced to the world. Because that's when they ran the first commercial for us. So it was on the Jumbotron. We were going nuts. It was such a great time.
Yeah, no, that's great. And getting into some just breaking stuff before I let you guys go. Any word on power slap going in the MSG sphere?
Not yet, but there's definitely talks.
And what about opening power slap up to the public for people to attend that want to attend and buy tickets? Anything yet on that?
Got to get those followers up. Got to be an influencer.
Just to get in or know an athlete that can get tickets, put you on their list, right?
I mean, that's few and far. I think that's going to be tougher and tougher as you go on, because now a lot of people, these guys have families and friends and also sponsors and things of that sort that want to go. So that's going to be even harder to get now.
Yeah, for sure. They don't have any plans of opening up, maybe even at like the Mandalay Bay Event Center, or even Park MGM would be a sweet spot.
John Davis' house.
Yeah, come on down to the garage. No, we haven't got any word of that or any inkling of them, opening it up yet. I'm sure, believe me, as soon as they do, we'll be the first ones posting about it, making it public, and really pushing for. I was just talking about this the other night on my live, man. I want nothing more, and I'm sure Ryan feels the same. I want nothing more than to fill an arena, fill in it more than just the Apex. Not that there's anything wrong with the Apex, but to actually get that feeling of, thousands of people finally piling in and being there live for the event, and just, finally opening up to the public. But whenever that happens, we'll definitely be letting everybody know. But no news or no word on that currently.
Yeah, when I tell people that, I'm into power slap and I talk to you guys and they dog it, but I'm like, you guys need to go to an event and see what these guys do and just listen to the interviews, listen to these guys talk, like what these guys do. It's the atmosphere is electric. And I'm not just saying that to kiss your guys' ass. Like, I'm dead serious. Like, I was at power slap. It was amazing. It was a fun time. Even this power slap where you guys both competed, like I said in the beginning, watching you guys compete, I'm a little bit more vested now, but it was exciting. The matches were good. Erica and Frank and Dana and Hunter, they all did a great job on this event. It was definitely one of the better ones. And, the fact that you guys got the big dubs is even better. So I can't wait for you guys. And then that only benefits you and your families, where you guys are making more money. You're getting sponsors. I might be the low man on the totem pole when I call you to jump on a call or something like that, but all I ask is just try to remember the little guy.
Yeah, well, from what I hear, Dana threw down 100 mil investment, and he actually already got that all back. So I don't think they're in any sort of race to get us out there, because I think the overhead, there is none. I mean, they're just using the Apex. They're using all of UFC staff. So I don't see them really rushing to get the public eye out there. And, not until they start really pushing the individual athlete, is when we're going to be in the public anyway, because, we don't have like the star power necessarily. We have stars, but we're not there yet. We're not popular enough to get all the however many in the seats. It's that's the driving force, is we want to sell out. I'm sure Dana White only wants sellout venues. So hopefully it builds, and it is growing. For every step forward, though, there are steps back as well, but hopefully we get there soon.
Now let me ask you, so who is Power Slap part of the Endeavor umbrella, or is it a separate business with Dana? Who else has their hand in the pot?
It's Dana, Fertitas, that one guy,
Hunter Campbell?
Not Hunter, no. It's a big TV executive that's in it. I forget. He owns, whoever owns TBS, like that umbrella, he's in it. But no, we have nothing to. We honestly have nothing to do with the UFC, except for we use their resources, and it's Dana White's. We are not with Endeavor at all, unless they've stepped in. But no, we're a separate entity.
And what company signs your checks? Is it UFC or is it Power Slap?
No, it's I don't know if I should give that away at all.
That's fine. You don't have to.
Yeah, I don't think
I'm good with that.
It's definitely a company that's not even on the map. You would never think of this company.
Yeah, no, that's cool. No, I appreciate that. And then let's just talk about the breaking news yesterday. Obviously, you guys had some interactions with Sean Strickland. Sean Strickland and Drixus du Plessis is announced for January 20th, 2024 in Toronto, Canada, which I think you guys should make a venture and we go and we have a good time up in Canada that weekend as well. Who do you guys take in that one?
Go ahead, John.
Oh, that, you and I were kind of discussing that before Ryan had hopped on. That's one of those things where they're both fighters that constantly go forward and really aren't looking to take a step back.
Mm-hmm.
And that's one of those ones that's so hard to pick, is the same as your Yuri fight. Whoever makes the first mistake is kind of how I feel like that might go. But also, I feel like after the way Strickland just kind of not so much dismantled, but was able to get through Adesanya the way he did, I don't see du Plessis really doing anything different or more extravagant than Adesanya could do to be able to beat him.
Yeah, and as I was mentioning, I've been to a bunch of UFCs, and this will be my 6th of 7 Drixus du Plessis fights that I've seen live. So he's all forward. I think he has a chin, and I think there's going to be a new champ, which then potentially sets up an Israel Adesanya if he comes out, Drixus du Plessis at UFC 300, possibly, maybe. So that's a good one. And then we have Ilya Topuria versus Alexander Volkanovski at UFC 298 in Los Angeles, California, probably at the crypto.com arena in LA. Who do you guys have in that one?
I have Volk. Definitely Volk. Yeah, I like Volk better. I think he's the GOAT. Ilya Tepuela, whatever his last name is. He's got a ton of power. He's crazy. He's got like, he's the up and comer. I don't know. I just didn't like his trash talk against Paddy Pimblett, and I think that he just gave me the wrong vibes, I guess. But I like Volk. I've always liked Volk ever since, so I'm going with Volk.
Now, since you're picking Volk, let me ask you: does that Islam knockout that just happened recently at UFC 294, does that make you a little nervous? Because it seems like no,
I don't. No, not at all. Because honestly, he took that fight on short notice. I mean, even though he stays prepared, it still was a short notice fight for Volk. Islam is Islam. He's a freaking monster. He comes from that family. That family's just a bunch of killers. So he went up a class. The first outing was way closer, but he had the full camp. So I think that showed. And yeah, the short notice against Islam is just never a good thing for anyone. I don't care if you're Volk or not. But I think with this fight, he's going to come in hot. I think Ilya doesn't know what he's in for, and I think Volk's going to dominate, honestly.
Yeah. And what would a short notice, like going into power slap, does a short notice fight affect you guys at all? Would you guys get a call for a short notice fight? Like if somebody dropped out, say like a heavyweight bout, Ryan, or a middleweight bout. Well, John, you're kind of a different because you're a title holder, so you wouldn't get a short notice bout. You might get a short notice opponent. But Ryan, on your hand, you could get that call where, a top guy, like say Nate Bernard got hurt and you're thrusted into that position. Does that change anything for you?
No, honestly, I would walk in still. This last fight, I actually put everything on my chin. So it's like it's if you have great defense, you can outstand the match. That means, the opponent can make mistakes. They could foul out, like as you saw with Darius. So my chin is, I don't know, second to none. I think to be honest with you, if anything, me and John Davis are probably tied for the best chin in this league. I don't think either of us have been knocked down. And John for one has taken shit. How many have you taken so far? Like over 10, right?
I mean, that's just my last 2 fights in all reality, because I had to take 6 or 7 against Wesley because of I got a penalty against me, and then I ate 5 from Azael. So there's 11 right there in the past 2 fights.
Holy shit. So yeah, John Davis has been whacked. So no, I fully believe if you have a great chin and a great defense, you still have a chance. So a short notice fight for me, I'd welcome it with open arms because I definitely withstand the storm.
Yeah, definitely. And the Volk fight, I'll be honest, the Volk fight definitely concerns me a little bit against Topuria. Reason being is that knockout. There's always that one fight in a fighter's career that, and we all lose it. I'm not as gifted as you guys are or as these elite MMA athletes are, but you saw it with Chuck Liddell and Rashad Evans. You saw it with Conor McGregor and Khabib, to name a couple. This fight will definitely see where Volk is with his headspace, and could this be the downside? Jessica Andrade versus Mackenzie Dern this weekend. That's another one. So I just don't know. And then the last fight before I let you guys go is obviously UFC 299. Potentially is going to be in Arizona, Miami, or Vegas. Sugar Sean O'Malley versus Cheeto Vera. Who do you guys got?
You can go first, John.
Man, that's a hard one, only for the simple fact of Cheeto being like one of Sean's only losses, if I'm not mistaken.
Yep.
I know Sean says he's undefeated, but that's not what the stats actually say. And I like his style of fighting, the way he went out there and went against Aljamain, even with the struggles that he was having with what was it, a pulled muscle or something in his back or rib that he couldn't even really grapple for. And that's one of those things too where it depends on how they're both feeling, obviously, if they make it there without injury. But Sean's grown so much since that last fight. Like, I don't really know. Again, it depends on when they get in there and how they actually both come out and perform, because in all reality, that could be either of them. They both have the knockout power. They both could go with the cardio, and they both are very good grapplers, even though that may not be what people think are their forte.
Yeah. What about you, Ryan?
Man, it is really tough because he lost already to Cheeto, and the way he lost, I mean, he broke his leg, but hopefully he's been eating his Wheaties and drinking a lot more milk, get some protein in those bones. I'm going to go with Sugar Sean O'Malley.
Yeah, I definitely think, Cheeto just looks like he hasn't been the same since that. So I'm definitely going to go sugar on that one. But boys, I truly appreciate it. I'm sure I'll be messaging you guys from UFC 295. Seriously, look into going to UFC 297. That'd be a lot of fun going up to Canada to see the bouts. But I appreciate you guys stopping on. And for anybody that knows, obviously, you guys are on Instagram, pretty prevalent on my Instagram, as well as, go check out the Barefisted podcast. And see these good looking dudes talking some power slap and just talking shit in general. I think I watched one video of you guys where a guy got called to the house and then he said that he wasn't gonna compete. It was an African American dude, if I'm not mistaken. And you guys grouped on him for like
well, yeah. I mean, no apologies here. If you're going to take away someone else's opportunity and do it the day before you have to leave for probably the biggest opportunity you'll ever get in your life, you're going to face some ridicule.
Yeah, and I totally agreed with your guys' takes on that because, like, you take somebody's spot, you do that, you take somebody's earnings away. If you don't have a match, you lose revenue there. So that's fun. And then also you can go check out Johnny's own preventative maintenance podcast. Obviously, one video that I definitely recommend is the UFC 295 with Matt Frivola, who's fighting this weekend at Madison Square Garden. Before we go, are there any shout outs, any sponsors or anything like that you guys want to get out, or anything you guys want to say, what you guys got up and coming personally or professionally?
Go ahead, Ryan.
Well, I have a Jello wrestling competition that's coming up this weekend that everyone can tune in for on my OnlyFans, King Dingaling 69. But other than that, just clowning around, making rap videos, rap songs about people.
Wait, did you get the likes to make that diss track?
Yes, I on both platforms, Facebook and Instagram. Actually, I've gotten set over 140 likes if you combine the both. So, I did release it. It's awful, but I had fun making it, and I think it's funny and makes people talk. So, but no, just follow me _King_Ryan Phillips. My man, life is just crazy right now. You're gonna have some different things pop up, and I'll announce them. But we're gonna have some shirts made. We're gonna have. Actually, this is kind of a special announcement. We're gonna have Barefisted Podcast merch. Finally, we're gonna also have King and Kings merch. I could talk to John. We can get John set up too with some made to order merch. But we're actually gonna have a site where you can order fucking merch. People are asking for it. I figured it out. I like the numbers. It's definitely worth it, and I can't wait for you all to see the designs we got coming out.
Yeah, definitely. When you guys drop those merch, tag me. I'll definitely share those for you guys. And obviously, anybody that's a fan of Power Slap, a fan of Barefisted Podcast, Preventative Podcast, our interviews as well. Definitely go out and support. Obviously, John's got a bunch of has a family and a few kids and things like that. So you're not only supporting him, you're supporting his family and the lifestyle that they're accustomed to. So you definitely want to give a shout there. And then Ryan, everything that you have going on, obviously becoming a broadcaster, expanding that Barefisted Podcast that you guys do. That one episode was entertaining. I was laughing my ass off. I had actually stopped listening to it when I was working out because I couldn't concentrate. So I wanted to hear I wanted to hear what you guys had to say. So I'm like, shit, I can't listen to this anymore. I got to put it on pause until I can get home where I can just sit and listen to it. But what about you, Johnny? Anything?
Don't forget, my very first guest of preventative maintenance was the king of king himself, Ryan Phillips. Shout out to him. Shout out to him for helping me get a lot of that stuff figured out and the ball rolling. And my technologically impaired self, he's taken his time and patience to not just with Barefisted, but obviously with me getting my whole internet feed situation figured out. But shout out to him and everybody else who's reached out to give me a hand. For the most part, at this point, just check out my Instagram at John the Machine Davis. That's where I'm most prevalent at this point, posting all of our stuff and my own stuff for what I have going on. Again, the support for us and the chance for us to get on here and chat with you about not just the UFC fights and our event at Power Slap, but us to get the chance to talk and people to hear that, again, like you said, we're not just up there and those crazy people at that point in time during our matches. There's a whole lot more, not just to both of us, but to every competitor in Power Slap. So again, thank you very much for that.
Yeah, absolutely. You guys are two stand-up dudes. Obviously, Ryan's a man of his word, and John, you're just a straight up good dude that everybody wants to root for. Actually, both of you guys are somebody that we want to root for. I wish you guys nothing but the best. Sit tight, okay?
Sounds good. Thanks, bud.
Thank you very much.